Hello children, I am Umesh Chandra Das, TET Science of Kendra Vidyalaya number 1 Sambalpur. In my first presentation on the chapter Stars and the Solar System, we have already discussed about various celestial objects, phases of moon, stars, light year, various constellations, distinction between star and planets. Now I welcome you to the second and the last presentation on this chapter. In the second part, we'll discuss about features of different planets, differences between inner and outer planets, asteroids, comets, meteors, meteorites, artificial satellites, differences between natural and artificial satellite. So let us have a look on features of the planets. The first planet is Mercury, that is Buddha. Mercury is the nearest planet to the sun and also the smallest planet in our solar system. It is usually hidden due to the sun's glare but can be seen just before sunrise or after sunset. It has no satellite. The second planet is Venus, Shukra. Venus is the nearest planet to the Earth. It is the brightest planet since it is seen in the eastern sky before sunrise and western sky just after sunset. It is also called morning star or evening star. Venus rotates from east to west. It has no satellite. Venus also shows phases like the moon. The third planet is our Earth, that is Prithvi. The Earth is the only planet where life is known to exist. It has the right distance from the sun, right temperature range, atmosphere, water, and a protective ozone layer. The Earth has a tilted axis which is responsible for the seasons on the Earth. The Earth has one satellite, that is the Moon. The Earth appears bluish green from the outer space as light from the land mass and water bodies get reflected. The fourth planet is Mars, that is Mangal. Mars is the next planet outside the orbit of the Earth. It appears slightly reddish and is also called the red planet. It has two satellites. The fifth planet is Jupiter Brihaspati. Jupiter is the largest planet of the solar system. It is about 1300 times larger than the Earth. The mass of Jupiter is about 318 times that of our Earth. It has faint rings around it. It has at least 67 satellites. The sixth planet is Saturn, Sunny. It is the second largest planet of the solar system and yellowish in color. It has several rings around it. It is the least dense among all the planets. Its density is less than the density of water. It has several satellites. The seventh planet is Uranus. Uranus has a highly tilted rotational axis. As a result, in its orbital motion, it appears to roll on its side. It rotates from east to west like Venus. It has several satellites. The last and the eighth planet is Neptune. Neptune is the eighth and the farthest planet in our solar system. It has really strong winds which are more powerful than any other planets in the solar system. It is bluish green in color. It has several satellites. Now let us have a look on the differences between inner planets and outer planets. The planets which are much nearer the sun are called inner planets, whereas the planets which are much farther than the sun are called outer planets. The first four planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are inner planets. The planets outside the orbit of Mars, namely Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are the outer planets. The inner planets have no or very few moons, but the outer planets have large number of moons. The inner planets do not have a ring system around them, whereas the outer planets have a ring system around them. Next is the asteroids. Asteroids are large number of small celestial objects that revolve around the sun between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. They revolve around the sun in their orbit. Asteroids together form a belt that is called asteroid belt. Next is comets. Comets are the objects which revolve around the sun in highly elliptical orbit. Their period of revolution around the sun is very long. It has a bright head and a long tail. The tail grows longer as it approaches the sun and is directed away from the sun. Halley's comet appears after nearly every 76 years. It was last seen in 1986. It will be visible again in the year 2061. Now, the meteors. A meteor is a small object that enters the Earth's atmosphere at very high speed and burns up completely due to friction, producing a bright streak for a short time. So, they are also called shooting stars. Now, the meteorites. The, there are some meteors which are large and they do not burn up completely and fall on the earth. The body that reaches the earth is called meteorite. Meteorites help the scientists in investigating the nature of the material from which the solar system was formed. Artificial satellites. Artificial satellites are the man made satellites launched from the Earth. They revolve around the Earth at a lower orbit. India has built and launched several artificial satellites. Aryabhatta was the first Indian satellite. Some other satellites are INSAT, EduSat, Kalpana 1, IRS, etc. Artificial satellites are used in weather forecasting, telecommunication, remote sensing, transmitting radio and TV signals, etc. Now, the differences between natural satellites and artificial satellites. Natural satellites are formed by the nature, whereas artificial satellites are man made. Natural satellites are not controlled by the humans, but artificial satellites are controlled by the humans. Natural satellites are permanent, whereas artificial satellites are temporal. Natural satellites are not used for communication purposes, but artificial satellites are used for telecommunication, weather forecasting, transmitting of signals, etc. Moon is the only natural satellite of Earth. Some artificial satellites are Aryabhatta, INSAT, IRS, Kalpana 1, EduSat, etc. Thank you. By this, we have completed the chapter Stars and the Solar System. Thank you, all of you.